One of the most frequently asked and recurring questions on my channel is sourced from not only my intro, but also the various clips and catches in Lowell. I'm Rail Fan Micah Turner, and today I'm going to answer that question. What is that giant wall surrounding the rail yard? January 29, 1957. Heavy floodwaters crested in Harlan County at just over 22 inches. April 4th, 1977. Another series of heavy rains devastated the region, with waters finally cresting at 34.5 inches of rain. The flooding wrecked homes, took lives, and left a stroke of fear in the hearts of many. Following the various floods, it was known that something had to be done. Plans went into action, and on October 9, 1989, Kentucky Representative Hal Rogers kicked the project off by igniting a sequence of charged explosions that began the excavation process. Over the next decade, the Corps of Engineers divided the project into 3 phases. In Phase 1, 4 2,000-foot tunnels were installed through the nearby Ivy Hill that would divert the flow of the Clover Fork River around the city of Harlan. A crowd of people stood by and watched as the water was diverted on September 21, 1992. As noted, one observer stated, only 2 people in history are known for moving great bodies of water, Moses and Hal Rogers. In Phase 2 of the project, the Corps of Engineers constructed a 4,000-foot flood wall adjacent to U.S. Highway 421 and the Martins Fork of the Cumberland River through Harlan. 3 highway floodgates and 1 railroad floodgate was constructed, plus an 875-foot levee segment. This phase was completed in September of 1996. In Phase 3, the Corps of Engineers diverted a 3,800-foot stretch of the Cumberland River around the city of Lowell, constructing a 6,000-foot levee system to protect the towns of Lowell and Rio Vista. With this phase, another 2,000-foot flood wall was built around Lowell, the process of which included a relocation of the CSX main lines and a few yard tracks in order to construct 2 highway floodgates and 1 railroad floodgate, the one of which you see in my intro, as well as other videos around Lowell from years past. As seen here, the floodgates surrounding the railroad aspect consists of groove segments that the rail sits in, as well as the large concrete segments that make up the wall itself and that can be shut as needed depending on water levels. The completed project was dedicated in Lowell on October 25, 1999, as a part of the Eastern Kentucky Pride Week events, Pride standing for Personal Responsibility in a Desirable Environment, a program Congressman Rogers created in 1997. The total project cost $181 million and took a decade to complete. Since its completion, only the secondary gates have had to be closed, and they have been a total of 3 times due to flooding since 2002. Notably, floodwaters on February 7, 2020 rose to the highest point they had been since the flood of '77, with the pumping station in Harlan pumping out over 87 million gallons of water throughout the day. Along with the Harlan County project, similar projects were constructed nearby. In neighboring Bell County, the flood of '77 left a devastating 15 foot of water in the town of Pineville. In the 80s, Pineville had its own flood wall constructed, that of which is also still seen today, particularly around the CV's Walson Yard. Flood walls aren't uncommon either, as seen around Williamson, West Virginia, where the wall protected the town of Williamson amidst the recent flood back in late February of this year. Another notable flood wall project can be found in Lower Manhattan in New York City, where the site of the former World Trade Center is constructed surrounding an underground complex of flood barriers that prevent the Hudson River from flooding the subway systems and underground segments of the area. There are hundreds of projects to be found across the nation, each of which carefully designed and constructed to help protect houses, towns, and communities from heavy rains and floodwaters. The Harlan County project is just one of many. Since I've been a rail fan, the floodgates around Lowell have been an icon when visiting the yard. Southbound trains are typically tied down through the southmost floodgate, of which can be seen when approaching the yard from Baxter. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of the Coalfield Chronicles. I hope that I've addressed your questions well, and I hope that this video clears up the mystery of that giant wall around the yard. If you liked what you've seen, be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss the next one. Until next time, from the Coalfields, this is Railfan Micah Turner. God bless y'all.
Mm-hmm.